there is always something more. There is always something else going to come. This is if we choose, and you have to kind of tap into that because this is what we've chosen to do for a living. And it is, I think, a very spiritual practice, just even being in this industry. It's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot of grit, and it takes a lot of expansion and support and having gratitude for things that, as a reminder to go, I'm just so lucky to be alive and to get to do this.
Hey there, it's Ginny.
And I'm Monica.
And this is Hitting Her Mark,
a podcast for women in the arts, actors, filmmakers, artists who are passionately chasing their creative dreams,
while juggling the beautiful chaos of caring for those they love.
We're here to share stories, insights, and inspiration, proving that you can hit your mark without compromising what matters most.
So if you're ready to make your creative dreams a reality, let's dive in. Today on Hitting Her Mark, we welcome Kate Campbell, who is an award-nominated actor, director, producer, showrunner, vocalist, and recording artist whose work spans film, TV, and major music stages. You've heard her voice in projects for the Academy Awards, the Emmys, HBO, Disney, Warner Brothers, and more. On screen, she's appeared in the Oscar-nominated Gone Girl and the acclaimed film Badsville. She's also collaborated with artists like Robbie Krieger of The Doors and Jeff Goldblum's Mildred Snitzer Orchestra. Kate splits her time between Toronto and Los Angeles and is a dedicated writer and researcher focused on the women pilots of World War II. Her short film Boundless, featuring Canadian icon Deanie Petty, is now being developed as a miniseries. She's also a student pilot and a member of the Coachella Valley chapter of the 99s. Please welcome the multi-talented Kate. Welcome, Kate Campbell. Thank you so much for joining us today on Hitting Her Mark. Kate is an actor. She's a writer, director, producer, a vocalist, and a pilot in training. She has worked with the Academy Awards, the Emmy Awards, HBO, Warner Brothers, the Getty Center, Universal, and Disney. She has been very recently working with the Canadian icon Deanie Petty in trailblazing talks with Deanie Petty and her new project, Boundless, Kate's new project. And it is a writing and development, and it's going to become a mini-series. We have so much to talk about.
We do. It's so good to be here with you guys.
Yes, thank you. We always like to start from the very beginning. When you were little, did you grow up in an artistic family? Where did this all come from?
Yes. So I grew up in a small town in Ontario and on a lake in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere. And so the imagination is just already my closest neighbor was, that I could play with was miles and miles away. So I grew up in the 80s, but my mother fed me we had old movies on and old music and jazz stuff. And it was very, it was very magical. It was a very magical upbringing. And my grandmother was very much also into music, and she had me going to musicals when I was a kid. And, there wasn't a lot of arts culture where I was growing up proper. There was my mom had to drag a dance teacher up, I think from Peterborough or something. There was just nothing around. And so it's amazing to see what's going on in that community now because it's really thriving. But I kind of loved it. I miss the non-technology and, having to use your imagination and putting on plays. And, I guess it would be making TikToks today and stuff. And that's still creative. But,
it's different. Yeah.
Growing up in nature, when the summer people would come up and then there would be so much, fun and play, and then they would go away in the winter, or in the fall, and it was very isolating. So my mom had us in all kinds of figure skating for 4 hours after school, and whatever we could get our hands on, we were doing.
Yeah. Was this Millbrook by any chance?
Halliburton.
Oh, it's so beautiful there. It sounds like your family kind of nurtured your artistic talent even early on. So what was that transition moving? When did you come to, I know you went to Sheridan College. So I'm just curious, was it music first? Was it acting first? What sort of led you to pursue it?
Yeah, such a good question. I was so deeply moved by music, and I was quite shy and I didn't have a very strong voice. And I so desperately wanted to sing like the music theater people I saw on stages and that I heard. And I was like, that's going to be me one day. And to be able to sing like that and that longing for that kind of self-expression and that freedom, I think was really a big driving force into, choosing like I went to Sheridan for music theater over, Ryerson or a York University.
Brown.
Yeah, George Brown. Like it was very music focused. And
Yeah.
I don't know that it was 100% my style, the very music theater stuff, but there was something about communicating in song that was so beautiful to me that was sort of a guiding force. And I think it was also tied to my grandmother and her love for musicals. Like the first musical I saw was Showboat. And I remember
Wow.
just laughing hysterically in one moment and then bawling in the next. And I was like, what is that? I want to do that. It's so
Yes.
incredible. And I met, some of my best friends were at Sheridan with me and my girls, we've stayed close and it was, music has carried me through so much in my life and it's been an ever evolving journey. Then after high school, I came to Sheridan. And then after graduation, I did some film and TV stuff in Toronto for a bit. And then I just had this like intuitive feeling, I think I was 26 at the time, where I was like, I need to go to LA. And I just did. It was just, how sometimes you're like, I should go and maybe I should go. And it was just so obvious at that time. And it was not even a question. I was like, I'm giving up my apartment, like everything. I had no paperwork. I just went with a suitcase.
Wow.
And I don't recommend doing that. Recommend.
That's
Feel like
great.
there's
Lots
things
to write about.
in your 20s, where
Yeah, you're like,
slap
I'm
into
invincible.
it.
Nothing bad's going to happen. I'll be fine. And
Right.
mostly that's true. It was a wild ride. But anyway,
But you
so
were
just to
there for a
continue on the
while.
music path for a while, like 11 years.
Yeah.
And, I think when I finished Sheridan, I was so kind of burnt out because it's theater school. I don't know, it's a lot. They threw so much at you. It's not possible to get it all right. And they do that purposefully.
Yeah.
And so there was it felt like a lot of pressure. And I was like, I don't want to sing. And I just boxed up my music and did some film and TV stuff. And then when I was in LA, and I think I had hit like one of my bottoms, like I don't know, there wasn't anything specific. It was just like really tough. It's tough out there.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel prepared for it in terms of what you learned
No.
at Sheridan?
Kind of. I mean, it was a completely different thing what I was doing though.
Yeah.
Like we didn't spend a lot of time on, like I just learned. I mean, I already knew the songs, but I practiced, a huge repertoire. There was this like old school rocker named Harv Mann. He used to open for Tiny Tim like back in the day. And I met him doing a Christmas concert for some terminally ill people. Like I was just like, I just need to sing this Christmas. I need to go and sing. And it was like, it was really great. Him and his wife had this beautiful home in Silver Lake. And I would go over there all the time. And his piano was in their living room, like literally took up all the space. And we just sang. We sang nonstop. And I built a repertoire up. I mean, again, I already knew the songs, but to really practice it. And then I was doing open mics. And then this band was like, come and be our singer. And it happened so fast because I think it's a devotional practice when you are practicing something you love so deeply. And,
Yeah.
it's like somebody's listening up there, somewhere, like you're being of service. Somehow you're sharing your gifts and not waiting for that kind of response of, oh, you're good, or, oh, I'll say you can do this. Now you have permission to be an actor. You have permission to be a singer. It was just pure from the heart and a deep longing to just express all the things, and that was sort of the only way I wanted to be for a while. And then lots of things happened because of that. So it was really lovely. It was a saving grace,
Yeah. And that's what kind of got you through the LA experience a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think, meeting some really, once, you do the work on yourself and sort of get real with some things, you kind of find other women who are doing the same and just like badass incredible powerhouse women who are doing the tough work to kind of deal with their stuff and their life and their trauma and the things that have happened and the things that they've done, and surrounding yourself with that like greatness and, where it's just very real.
So did you end up doing any TV film at all in LA?
Yeah, I did. Cast in, I had done a few things, but then I really loved being out there. To be there, obviously auditioning in person and stuff, and driving to Studio City, driving to Santa Monica or wherever. It was wonderful to be in the rooms with the casting directors, and they were so welcoming and so wanting to find new talent and so excited to see you. And I really, really appreciated that. Doing self-tapes now, I feel there's such a, there's a freedom in another way, of course, and I think that that's great, but then I'm missing that kind of like connection in person.
Mm-mm.
And so one of the things I did was I had like super bleach blonde hair for a while, and my agent sent me in for this role in Gone Girl, and with Laurie Mayfield, who casts all of David Fincher's stuff. She's phenomenal. And I had just chopped off all my hair and dyed it like dark. Like it was very short and dark. And so sitting in the room with all of these bleach blonde hair people, I was like, oh no. But no, she brought me in and she's like, I love it. I love your hair. It's fantastic. And she was like, read this, read it again, do this. And then I booked the role, which was so fun. And it was the whole day. Oh, it was wonderful. It was the whole day. Because David Fincher does a million takes of everything, and which I love as a director, having the freedom to do that. And then sitting across from Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike and 100 extras. It was just so fun. It was just like a masterclass. I was like, this is the easiest work ever. It's so fantastic. And then I was in another thing. I auditioned 3 or 4 times for it. It was actually David Fincher's. It was like his comedy show of the 90s. It was a music thing he did about his music video career in the 80s, like directing Madonna and stuff. And I was like the lead's boss as a fashion designer. And then we were at the table read and stuff when they had shot 4 episodes. And then HBO just shut it down. Like they shut that down and they pulled his other project as well. So this is like, it's just part of I was kind of bummed about it for a long time. And then I was like, this is the way this goes. There is always something more. There is always something else going to come. This is if we choose. And I have to kind of tap into that, because this is what we've chosen to do for a living. And, it is, I think, a very spiritual practice, just even being in this industry. It's like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of grit, and it takes a lot of expansion and support, and having gratitude for things that, as a reminder to go, I'm just so lucky to be alive and to get to do this.
And you speak about support. What were there mentors or people along this journey that that kept encouraging you or helping you like move forward and have the capacity to keep going?
But yes, I have a lot of support. I have a lot of support, and I'm so grateful for it. I count my blessings every day, and it's becoming more so. The more I feel getting closer to who I am as I age, as I grow older, as I'm an artist in my 40s, and sharing myself.
Mm-hmm.
The more those people are showing up in my life, and the more I can return that and be that for them. And I think that is everything. To have that kind of support and to have that sisterhood, and where it's real, and where there's like, you're lifting people up, because, somebody rises, we all rise. It's just such a lie that we're conditioned, like there's only so many roles and no, there's always something for you. If we're listening deeply.
I feel like there's a theme in your work, and I don't want to go all over the place. I kind of had a structure of how I was going to ask you questions, but you're kind of leading me in this direction too. But in terms of women empowerment and, especially, with your film Boundless and now your show Trailblazing Talks with Deanie Petty, there seems to be this theme of female empowerment. It speaks a lot to you and some of the things that you want to get out there. Do you want to talk to some of that and how that inspires you in your work as a filmmaker?
Yes. I feel like that's the core essence of who I was as a little girl. I remember seeing the movie A League of Their Own and being obsessed.
I love that.
Being obsessed.
Yeah.
With, like, I would run ahead to the baseball diamond at school at recess and before the boys, and I'd be like, it's ours. And we didn't even have any equipment.
Right. Care. We're doing this.
We're doing this. And like, you know, so I think, you again, though, I think the conditioning comes in of this like competition or fear-based things, to sweep you off that path. And I think kind of getting back to that, if it's in you and if that's who you are, and and you can also expand that, it's going to come. What's yours is meant to be yours, and it will never miss you. So the pings and the intuition and the things that light me up are very much honoring not only our elders, but women elders. I was very close to my grandmother, who was a pilot, and my world growing up, like I would call her every night, ever since I could dial a phone, I would call her. And she was just such an inspiration in the way she lived her life. She wasn't preachy, but she was such a trailblazer in her own right. And I deeply missed that when she passed in 2003. I missed having that in my life. And so I was like, I want to honor her. And then I started doing research. And the more research I did, the more women pilots I found, which I blew my mind because none of us knew any of this. I was so overwhelmed that I just remember closing my laptop or closing the book or whatever I was doing and going, this is going to take a minute. This isn't going to happen soon, in my 20-year-old brain, or 20, whatever I was, 23, 22, what? This is going to take a minute. And then when I went to Los Angeles and got to be in the States and where these women trained, these World War II women pilots, and I got to go where they they have a homecoming every year in Sweetwater, Texas, is where they trained over 1,000 women pilots who flew every aircraft off the line, bombers, fighter pilot, like fighter jets, everything. And they would come back every year. It was like a league of their own. They would come back every year and they would take people up, like, they were going for boat rides. They'd take people up in these vintage planes. So it was just like a like this Texas barbecue and all of these women and planes. I had already researched before that, but being around them and getting their voices on camera and their stories on camera just kept growing and growing and growing. And this particular project has so many different incarnations. And then, then obviously I brought Deanie on to play the lead in the short, Boundless, the short, because my grandmother used to fly out of Buttonville and remembered Deanie flying out of Buttonville when she was in her pink helicopter. So they were flying at the same time. Obviously there was an age difference. Deanie was much younger, but it was incredible. So we was like, well, you have to play this role. And she graciously said, yes, it's about a World War II pilot looking back on her life. And so we did, and it was fabulous. And then I've always thought, I was like, she needs to be back in front of people. Why has no one done this yet? And then the opportunity came where I had some space and time, and I was like, let's just make this happen. So it took a couple years. It's been 2 years, actually, because I thought it would be so much easier than it was. And it's still really hard, like obviously, like everything we're doing, and some things align faster than others. And that's is what it is. But it was worth it. It's been such a challenging year where I feel like I've been stretched in so many different ways in terms of growth, in terms of just humility, humbleness, of learning, expansion, and also stepping into leadership, like new skills.
Your first time show running? Is that right?
Yeah. So I feel like, I matched that. You know what I mean? Like oh yeah, well, it's in me now.
Yeah.
Because of the practice of doing it. And my God, it's not a perfect practice. It's just, you showing up again and again and again for yourself, but also you have a team and you have other people who are counting on you. But to have a woman elder be in the mainstream, a woman elder, face forward. So we're seeing her, we're hearing her opinions. That is my dream. Like, I think we're so backwards in this culture where we don't honor our elders. And then we're all so shit scared of aging and the propaganda of, you're over at whatever age. It's like, why? Who says so? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think we are so much more powerful. Like, I love being around older women and I want to hear from them and I want to see them more. So that's part of this. I feel like it's more of a movement, and that's been worth the fight, worth staying in for.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've had some incredible guests. When you are creating the show and trying to figure out, which episode goes where and who you're going to interview and how, can you give us a little glimpse? I mean, we do this podcast and sometimes it's like, oh my God.
It's amazing. I'm so glad you guys are doing this. This is so cool.
Thank
But
you.
yeah. I mean, it really was, an experiment for the first season because we film in St. Catharines, our studios in St. Catharines, so it's far. And then we were filming at a certain time, so we'd film multiple episodes, in a day. And so it was a challenge to organize all of that. I mean, I think for the 1 year special was really special. Like, it was kind of nice because we had like a small studio audience, and obviously Tanya Williams came, but like that's a whole day commitment. Like, it's not like an hour or two. Like, you have to leave here at I don't know what time in the afternoon to get out there. We're filming at 6, and then you're not home because we had asked her to stay, and she graciously did for the end part when we wanted to bring everyone back, like SNL style, which was like, I was like, we need to all get up here at the end. I love it. So, but yeah, so that part was challenging, just to answer your question, like that, like sort of convincing people like to come to the studio, and then some people just couldn't logistically. And so they would Zoom, which was totally lovely. And we had that set up, which was great. But also, like, there have been people, like we had Chelsea Diane of Poems and Powers from the States, and I just messaged her on Instagram. I've been following her for a while and taking her class, and she's extraordinary. She's usually jet setting around the world somewhere, And she was like, I'm all in. Like, in 2 minutes, she replied. So she flew up.
Aw.
I picked her up from the airport. We had time to chat, and she'd like got herself. I was like, we don't have the budget to like fly you and put, like, you know what I mean, at this point. And she was like, it doesn't matter. I'm coming. And what's been cool is the people that I've been getting to meet through this process, like not only through our team and growing like our relation within the team, but also the guests and the friendships and the projects and the things that are coming from that. And I really longed for that kind of collaboration and expansion and like the magic of that. Can't really predict how it's going to go. Like, you don't know. You can't predict the magic, that's going to happen when you just kind of leap and you go all in. And yes, you're informed and you have things and you have people in place, but it's just so mimics real life because we don't know anything really, like what's going to happen from moment to moment to moment. And I think as artists, we really get to experience that in a deeper way. We have a different knowledge of that, or a different awareness of that, because we're forced to live in this place and we chose to live in this place. But that is such a gift, because a lot, I think, it could be like, oh God, I got to get through life. I got to get through the day. I got to get through it. And then you're dead, like we're here for nothing. It's nothing. It's already gone. Like, what are we going to do? That kind of honoring of eldership, women, legacy, wanting to leave something behind, I'm a little bit obsessed with. So I feel lit up when I'm working this way. So that's how I know. There's no other reason. There's no other than that. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I love that. And it resonates so much. I think maybe even, Jenny, you feel the same way. Even just having the podcast, we get to talk. It's the same thing. You get to talk with women. You start to expand your worldview. You start to take in different stories. You're making these creative connections. And I feel like we're at a time right now where we're so lacking real human connection, right? Like,
Yes.
It's all online. We're on, so I think, just the fact your guests being like, yes, I'm all in, it's like everyone's supporting the greater, vision, which is like, let's do this thing together. Let's lift each other up. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that you're also, sorry, I was just going to mention the She Lifts Off Films. I know that this is your production company, and I'm getting the sense of why the mission and why it was created. But you're also developing Boundless into a TV miniseries. Can you just touch on that a little bit, on what that process is like and what you're hoping to do there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some stuff coming up in 2026, so I can't say too much about it. But what I will say is that it has had so many different incarnations, and it was originally a feature film script, which it may go back to at some point.
Mm.
And the not waiting for people to say yes, I think has been such a gift. I wanted to see it off the page. So I did a 2-minute teaser when I was living in LA. And the SWAT team of people who came to play and who came to support was absolutely astounding. And that creation, which was one of my absolute favorite memories of all time, we went to a military, it's not a military, but they were in the military, an active runway vintage plane museum. And I drove out there and I said, this is what I want to do. And this is why. And of course, they knew who these women were. And so they were like, yeah, you can do that. And they came in on their day off and they all moved the planes around and the bombers around all day for us. And then I brought my girls and guys out and we just had the most incredible day. And then I shot the exteriors in Wisconsin at Oshkosh, it's like the largest aviation convention in the world. So I'm matching the shots. They had a vintage air show every day at 2 p.m. And I was given a camera that I didn't know how to focus properly. It was just given to me and it was a new camera by somebody. I was borrowing someone's camera. And by the fourth day, I got it. I was like, okay, because it was a super zoom lens. And I was just like, none of this is going to work. And then it did. It was amazing. I'm just tootling around by myself. Wow. It was extraordinary. And then so that 2 minutes of film got all the support to do the short film, which I'm so deeply proud of. And then so that is now brought on, an Oscar-winning producer, and there's lots of things in the works. And so we really are excited to move it forward. And it needs to be out in the world now. It's time, especially with everything that's going on right now. I mean, any time was the time, but I just feel even more, not motivated, but I don't know. It's just, it needs to be out there. It's just there's no question.
Absolutely. And so I'm always so curious about the pitching process. How have you pitched these ideas to different networks, or how does that all work? How do you choose all of that?
Yeah, I mean, so many producers have come and gone and from this project, so I really it's really been a solo traveler journey, even though so many people have come and gone to contribute. And what I've learned through this process and who I can trust and who's actually serious about it and what questions to ask if nothing's happening, you know what I mean? To really take the initiative to go, hey, listen, this has been great, but I need to move on now, nothing's happening. Or, after a discussion of this is what I need, XYZ, can you provide that? Or do you have any thoughts on that? Or how are we going to do it? What's the plan? And if not, then I've got to move this on. So that's been an interesting journey. I remember times when I was younger saying these things to different producers and I felt oh my God, they're going to hate me. I'll never work again. Just, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that we think I can't have a tough conversation. If I can't have a tough conversation, then they're not the right person to be working with,
Right.
Because it's all tough conversations, not necessarily all tough, but it's just that's part of it, and so who's sort of serious and who's not, and and what people can contribute, what their skill set is. Because in the beginning, I thought all producers found money, and I think that's a common thing that people think. Not all producers are the money people. There are creative producers. There are all kinds of different producers. If it's a big production company with a production house and they have a development budget, then maybe, yeah. But if you're just signing on one person who's a producer, it's you have to ask them what they want. What do they do? What is their skill set? And to not be afraid of it. Because I was just he's produced all this stuff. That means my thing's going to get done. No, because you don't know how many factors are going into how many other producers are producing that stuff too. So I think, that's, and then for pitching is just gotten better and better as I get older. And it's just becomes about sharing what I love and then practicing it in a structured way that makes sense. So it's not just a bunch of oh my God, you gotta do it. So it doesn't come Yeah. And I think, I've had feedback too. Like I had pitched to, a certain network, and with the teaser and the package that I created, and they're like, this is one of the best things we've ever received. And you're such a grounded creative, which I don't think they're used to. And that was odd to me because I was like, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Like,
maybe.
so are we moving forward?
Yeah, I know exactly. Well, the other thing is it's a massive budget too, right? So it needs another country's money. It's not going to just be Canadian money. So
Right.
that was a
And
big
then
factor in the why.
right. And then of course being able to advocate for yourself for your true vision, right? Because sometimes when you get a lot of players and it's like there's a carrot that's dangling.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
But we
also
can't do this, we
it's
can't do
interesting.
that.
Yes. And that's such a good point because I had to think about that and still, finding my way through that, and that has changed over the years as well. But it's sort of like the more I grow, the bigger the project gets, or the more the project grows. It's so directly linked, and which isn't surprising, but it's amusing to me. I'm like,
Right.
because the better I get at advocating or asking questions and kind of taking up space and not being afraid of that. And that's what I want to inspire in other women, who are creating stuff. Because I've been on the other side of that where it's like, people are making comments left, right, and center. And you're kind of like, this is weird. I don't know how to handle this, So I don't know if that makes sense, but you can be in really difficult positions.
You start questioning yourself and you're like, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
you're like, wait,
Is this an unreasonable ask?
sure, because is this person supposed to know more than me? And I just think that's where we get kind of tripped up, especially as artists, because we're like, okay, well, the producers should know. And I've been a producer on pretty much everything I've directed, and I've found that to be incredibly helpful, just to even speak the language of the team, you know what I mean? To be able to communicate and stuff has been really important. Although I do feel like, no, that's not true. I do like producing too. I like both. I really like both. I like all the things. I like all of it.
All of the things. Well, you're very talented at all of them, right?
Oh,
Multi-passionate.
Kate, what advice would you give to filmmakers out there who are trying to get a project made? What have you learned along the way that may help others?
Such a good question. I think you have to, of course, find your people that you resonate with and that you feel are truly committed to the project. It doesn't mean like they can't have busy days or weeks, sometimes even months, but I think having that common agreement and being okay with checking in about it along the way to go, hey, is it still working for you? If you're feeling like it's not, or I think just advocating for yourself, asking the questions, meeting people. Because I think, the strangest things come from meeting people, can come from meeting people about like who knows who or who might be good for this. And if it's something that's, okay, here's another thing too. I think it's much easier to get something made that you truly resonate with than if you're just trying to get something to put on your reel, there's nothing wrong with that at all, but just understanding what it is. It's like, okay, this is this, and that's totally fine. But I find that the things that are heart-led, find the people that you really want to work with. I've found that to be true. Like there's just, in terms of trusting your own intuition, like, if you're meant to work with somebody, like, like you feel it, and however that manifests, just, I think staying true to yourself as best as possible.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
And I find that when you're just naturally passionate about something, the way you talk about it, the way you,
Exactly.
The people that you attract to the project just tend to be more aligned.
100%, because you're coming from the heart, and like love sees love knows love, like, passion for something, and there's nothing that you can't do. We are content creators. They need us. And we forget that.
Yeah. And I honestly, I love that idea of like leading with your heart, because even when you were talking about, Boundless and your a connection with your grandmother, like I totally got emotional. Like there's something that connected right away, so I love that. I think that's such beautiful advice for artists out there. My question is, since you wear so many hats, you're juggling so much, you play so many different roles. What is the biggest challenge you face in this career as a female creative? Like, how do you manage it all? How do you stay sane? How do you allow to still have that, beautiful creative energy without feeling like, the resentment of the industry sometimes, or like, just feeling bogged down and tired and burnt out? How do you?
Yes. That's amazing. I love that question because it's an ever evolving practice, I feel.
Mhm.
And I think being very honest about what I'm able to take on, like if there's something new presented to me and I don't have the space for it, saying no, hopefully sooner than later. Like I try to do that. I'm not perfect at it, but I try to just be as honest as I can up front as, if there's something I just can't do because my ego wants to do all of it. I'm like, I can do it all. And like, maybe I can, but I want to have time now to like nurture myself and to have rest and to have relations and, like friendships and my husband. And, I
And be
think
able to enjoy it,
I
right?
want to enjoy it.
Creating
That's the
things.
key. That's the key, Ginny. Like, yes, all of these things and, having success and all of that is wonderful. But if you can't enjoy it, what's the point? So it brings you back to like, what's your intention? So I am doing multiple things now. And it's just about scheduling. It's about scheduling. It's about being very intentional with your time, with my time. And, it's really trying to do the things that light me up because it's already such a slog. You know what I mean? So really choosing things that I feel aligned with and excited about really helps. And then, pretty strong meditative practice and yogic practice, like having that punch list of things, like when I'm really tired, I need to take a nap. I don't care what's on my plate. I need to go take 20-25 minutes, have a nap, listen to some binaural beats, and also writing. This is especially true when things are kind of seemingly going belly up in this industry, is really writing that gratitude list. It sounds cliche, but it is so important to be grateful for what we have. We have so much. We have so much, other places in the world, places even in our backyards, are people are suffering, and we get to do this. There's nothing to complain about ever.
Yeah.
Like we have work to do.
Yeah.
And,
That's a really good framing.
we figure it out and we move forward and we find other people who are thinking that same way because I find that's why I've tried to cultivate too, people in my life who are like, grateful and not, I'm trying not to complain as much. I mean, I have nothing to complain about, So
Yeah.
keeping your eye on the ball.
Yes. And
Beautiful.
understanding your own like nervous system, right? Understanding that what right now is the wall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am going to walk away before I smash something.
Yes. Because we've all done that. We've all gone past the limit and we've like said the thing we didn't. I mean, I have. I've been like tired and pushed to the limit and, it's just not. And it happens. It's life. It's okay.
Yeah.
And just to forgive ourselves and go, I'm just in this practice. It's okay. All of me is okay. All the parts.
Yes.
To ask this question because there's so much to cover and this is such a beautiful conversation. We didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of every credit, but music was such a big part of your life. As you mentioned, 11 years in LA as a jazz vocalist and recording artist. And as Ginny mentioned in the bio, you performed at an incredible events and with incredible musicians. I'm curious, is there a future where music might be incorporated into your filmmaking?
Yes, I would love that. It's definitely something I've been missing because I think, and I'm still technically the vocalist for these bands that are back in LA. I'm still like, I still have we could go do it tomorrow. And they've asked like, kind of, what's your schedule like? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to come down that right now, but if I just wait a couple more years, but it's just, but since COVID, that I was singing in 2019 and then I had, a tour of gigs in 2020 right before everything shut down. And then, so I was in LA doing the thing, and then I came back, and then everything was shut down. Luckily, I had planned to be here for a little while because I had directed Boundless, and I sublet my place. And God, actually, no, I had gotten rid of it at that point. Weird. Yeah, no, I had gotten rid of it at that point. I had committed to. Totally forgot
Isn't that
that.
interesting? Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, so everything shut down at COVID. There was no singing. There was no nothing. So it's
You
been
weren't allowed to sing.
no, like we weren't allowed to be in
It was
public.
so weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it just changed so drastically. So I think, and then I started filmmaking and directing and doing all kinds of stuff too that was more behind the scenes. So I feel now, and I've been acting and I've been working, during COVID was great for me. I worked a lot, and then I worked a bit this year, which was great, but I really want to sing again. I think I'm going to start doing that this next year. It's really important to me, just to do, not for any end result, but I also would love to write something for that. I have written something actually in the Boundless thing for a singer is also a pilot, but we'll see what happens on that front. But I think creating something else that's devoted to that kind of storyline would be so fun.
Yeah. I feel like that sounds right.
Yeah.
What is your writing practice? What do you do to get words on paper and meet deadlines and make stuff happen in your writing?
Yeah, I just do it. I just have to do it. It sounds very boring, and often it is. I mean, I'll have a prayer before, like I will call in, God, my spirit guide, like I'll be like, hey, listen, calling y'all in, and let's like have a session here, just to invite that in, because the muses are all around. And I think once I get going, what I also listen to depends on what I'm writing, but mostly for Boundless, if I put on stringed music, like cello music, I'm like in.
You're in the
There's like
moment.
smoke coming off your fingers on the keyboard.
Yeah, or I enjoy it. Like I allow myself to really enjoy it. I have to silence my devices, otherwise it's just a nonstop situation where I don't get anything done. But even like setting a timer, I always set a timer as well. So even if it's 20 minutes, even if it's 30 minutes, or I usually try to go for at least an hour, and I'll do that. And knowing that time is just dedicated to that it feels like the pressure's off of having to create this big thing in a set amount or for the day. It's like, no, this time is dedicated to this, and whatever I get to is perfect. So
right. Whatever
those are some of
email
the tools
I missed 20 minutes later isn't that long for them to wait.
No.
It's good.
No. And again, it's a practice. It's like not going to go perfectly. But if you're not, I find if I'm not doing it at all, then I feel like my system feels depleted. Actually, I don't sleep as well. If there are things I know that I that are calling to me to do, even incrementally, even 10 minutes a day, I sleep better. I feel better. My nervous system is more relaxed and aligned. It's just I've taken that action, that aligned action.
Oh my gosh.
And called in support.
Do you have like follow numerology at all, or like do you know your number?
Sort of.
Like I feel like there's like a number 3 is like the achiever, and it's like you have to accomplish something in the day to feel.
I am a number 3.
Relaxed. Yeah. I just feel like, that like I get that so much, because those days where you're just like, where have you not accomplished something in the day, or you just
I don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Just to even, because I feel like it's a celebration of being alive. Like it's like, okay, I got a little something done. And a yoga teacher of mine said it's like real important for women, especially, to get a win in early in the day.
Yeah.
You got to get a win in.
Yes,
because then it gives you momentum. You know what I mean? Because then all the shitstorm that kind of comes at you through the day, you're like, I got to win in. I'm good. Like I can go on this momentum if you can, So like whatever that is, like a meditation, a 10-minute thing,
workout.
You made your bed, whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
So much of our attention gets almost like stolen away from us because we're like, I'm going to do this one thing. And then somebody comes in and says, look at me.
Yes. Oh, especially.
I feel like I'm constantly just.
Yes. I remember writing Boundless when I didn't have a smartphone, and it was so much easier to write back then. I remember I would write all day long. I would just write for hours and I would love it. Now I feel like I can't do that. Also, I'm busier and so I just can't do that. But
It's more
there's so much distraction. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, I
yes.
find
Just
that
this,
too.
everything is sped up. The world is, and it's okay. It is what it is. But like, how can you manage it? And how can I manage it in my nervous system to be like, okay, but I got to focus on this for this amount of
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Well, we are reaching our hour. This hour flew by.
Lovely. Oh
This
my
is so
gosh.
lovely. Feels like such a soulful conversation. I loved it.
I love this.
So, couple closing questions. What advice have you received from a mentor along the way that you'd like to share, or something you've learned that might help creatives out there who may be struggling right now?
Okay. Yeah, I think we got to do things that make us feel good, Like for me, I forget to have fun. I really do. Like I'm such a like I got to get this done and that does feel good. Like I love that is fun for me. But like what are some other things? What are some other things that are more like childlike, that I used to love to do or that I want to give that little space to myself as an artist or like, I think that that's really important. And then also having, getting really clear on what you need in order to like do your day. Like, is it hydration? Is it, this meditation? Is it like, what is your quick has been given to me from my yoga teacher? What is your punch list of things that is it this breath exercise? Like what are the 3-minute things, the 2-minute things? What are the 1-minute things? Do you need to get up and move the energy, move your body? Do you need to call that friend? Like what are the things that kind of bring you back on track? Because it's so easy to get spun out, that if you have just a simple list in front of you and you keep it really simple of like, no, this is my daily practice and these are the things that I know are just going to kind of get me back. Is it making a 5, just grateful for 5 things just to change my perspective? Because I find that if we can go down the rabbit hole, it can sometimes snowball and then it's like, oh, you're not where you want to be at the end of the day. And it's like, so, and also being really gentle with yourself, like really gentle, because this is it's a tough industry. I was talking to somebody who was like this kind of like British producer, old school, and he was talking to a monk about what he had chosen to do with his life, like as a producer, and he was like, he's like, that's the most spiritual thing you could do because you're constantly having to let go. And I think as actors, it's even more so, It's like you gotta let go, result, let go, let go, let go. You gotta show up and then like love what you do and be in it and then just give it away. Give it away, give it away, give it away.
Yeah.
So yeah,
true.
those are a couple of things.
Right. Give it your all.
Yes.
And then leave it.
Yes. Yes. But like what can I learn about myself in this audition? How can I feel because I'm so doing the other thing now these days, like producing and doing the kind of the heavy lifting and on some things behind the scenes, which is cool. But I find when I get an audition, I'm like, oh, I get to play. I get to like just be free and play for like whatever it is, 20 minutes, half an hour. I get to have that and play. And then I always feel better afterwards. I don't care what happens. I feel great.
Right.
I had this opportunity to share myself,
Yeah, with that little bit of insight, like that producer insight and directing insight, do you think that's changed your audition process for an actor?
I think so, because I think I just feel like so much goes into creating something and having it's not that the actors are now afterthought. We need actors and I love actors that we need the good ones, but that you're a part of something that is much bigger. And so it is so out of your control about if you get the thing or not. Like it's completely out of your control. What do you have control over? The quality of the work, like how I show up and like how much I can give of that and how much joy, like how much I can enjoy the process. And then, also trusting that the universe will mirror back to you what is yours, like give you what is yours. There's nothing that's missing you. And
Right.
that behind the scenes, because when if I've watched audition tapes or stuff like that, I just want people I want to see who they are. That's all I want to see. I want to see like a spark of who they actually are. And then I'm like, okay, the lines, yes, obviously I need you to say the thing. But if it's like a perfect audition and I don't like get to like meet you, especially if it's on a Zoom, like, or not a Zoom, but like
a self-tape.
Exactly. Self-tape. Like I can't redirect in the moment. Yeah. I mean, and of course too, like is that person right for the role? Or even if I didn't think they were right, what are they showing me that I'm like, okay, I can totally work with that. It
Where's
totally
that
changed my
spark?
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not about being like overly, like overly like, it's me, pick me. It's just about honestly the quiet, like the joy. You see it, you can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah. Sort of
Yeah,
like you know it when you see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
100%.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
this.
it is.
Okay. All right. Well, it's the final question. We're going to wrap things
That's
up.
fine.
Lee.
Okay.
We don't want to let you go,
This
but
has
we're
been so
going to do it.
wonderful.
This has been great. Okay, so this is the question we ask every guest on the show. When you hear the phrase hitting her mark, what does that mean for you? How do you define success in your life? It could be personally, professionally, however you perceive that statement.
Okay. I feel like I just feel now that it's like, yeah, it's such a great title, you guys. It means that, so the mark is like the goal and that you're meeting it like vibrationally is what I feel, like, and maybe the goal is a million times bigger than you ever expected it to be, but you're like in that territory, in that vibration of aligning with your own destiny, no matter what it looks like to anyone else outside. Because it really has nothing to do with that at the end of the day. It's like you and your own soul. And so that's what it means to me. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Kate, I feel like I've really gotten to know you in this episode. Thank you so much.
This is wonderful. Thank you for having me on here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Hitting Her Mark. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. For more content and updates, follow us on Instagram at Hitting Her Mark.